Okay.
Yep.
Well,
Looks good on mine.
okay, looks good from my end too. Well, good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to episode 6, I believe is what I have and what I put down. Episode 6, season 2 of Living in the Texas Hill Country. We weren't with y'all last week because we were in San Antonio. It's kind of crazy that this time last week we were in San Antonio. That
I know
seems
it
like
feels like more than 7 days ago.
I know, like, yeah, it's crazy. But yeah, so we were in San Antonio sort of planning the next year out of, Carly's planning her programs for Blanco County. I was telling all the agents basically all the things that I can do to help them. If they have any questions, who should they come to in regard to bird questions? That would be me, the certified. I think I call it the what did I say? I always think I tell everyone I call myself a
Certified bird nerd.
self-proclaimed bird nerd,
I love
certified bird nerd.
it.
Um, but yeah, so we're going to talk about and Carly and I were talking about this. I learned some stuff before we even started. Is we're talking about xeriscaping today.
Yeah.
Okay, which I learned that there's something as xeriscaping and you said xeriscaping.
Xeriscaping. Yeah.
Okay.
So, I don't know if that's scientific, but um, so xeriscaping is, how to use your plants efficiently to not have to use a ton of water and you're watering your grass all the time and things like that. And then some people just want nothing at all and just rocks. That's zero scaping because there is zero things there but rocks.
Okay. And that's whenever Carly was like, we're going to talk about xeriscaping. My brain immediately went to like, you see, like, in Arizona, like, I think everybody puts rocks down. Like, I think it's really hard, if not almost impossible to sustain grass. I don't know. If somebody's from Arizona or lived in Arizona, let us know in the comments if xeriscaping or xeroscaping, if that's common. Because I guess in Arizona, would that be xeriscaping or xeroscaping? Because there's still like they have like the cactus and the yucca sticking up, but there's no
Yeah, it's still
grass.
utilization of some plants.
It's a
So I don't know.
hybrid. It's a hybrid of
The
xeriscaping
hybrid.
and zero. I would say xeroscaping because you said there's no grass. Anyway, we're not gonna talk about xeriscaping. We're gonna talk about xeriscaping. This is gonna get really complex very, very
Yes.
fast. And it's only Tuesday. I was gonna say good news, at least it's not like, 8 o'clock in the morning.
Yes.
It's lunchtime. But okay, so you kind of mentioned like xeriscaping is like minimal water is basically the gist of xeriscaping.
Yes.
So I don't even know where to start because I guess I tried to xeriscape my yard, working on it, I guess. So I guess what are some, I don't know, components of xeriscaping or some things to know about xeriscaping?
Yeah, so there's kind of like 7 principles to start off with. 7 sounds like a lot, but it's basically just planning and design, your soil, what's your foundation there, analysis and preparation of it, practical turf areas. If you want to use a little bit of turf, you absolutely can. And then with that, appropriate plant selection to kind of be a companion with your turf. Um, Efficient irrigation, if you are going to use irrigation, how to do it most efficiently, or if you're going to use rainwater harvesting, you can do that as well too. Using mulch and then appropriate maintenance thereafter.
Okay. Okay, so I'm trying to think of, I guess we can start with component 1 and we can kind of like dive into each of those components and dig a little bit
Sure.
deeper. So, okay, I'm sorry, I forgot. What was the first component again?
Well, I like to start out with soil. I said planning
Okay,
and
sorry.
design first, just because I think
But
that's what comes to mind first is what
yeah,
is it going to look like?
it's the fun
Um,
part. Let's be honest. It's
yes,
kind of the fun part.
it is. And for me, not being like really strong background in like horticulture or, soils or anything like that, it's weird for me to think soil is the most important part of it,
But it is. I mean, it's
but
really
it
truly
is.
the foundation of like everything. Whether or not your
Absolutely.
soil holds water, whether or not it's erosive, because certain plants like certain soils that drain better than others, which I don't know, down here in Uvalde, we have a lot of like those like sandy loam type
Yeah.
soils where they get really, really messy fast, but they dry out really fast because there's
Yes.
a lot of sand. But I guess up in the hill country, I don't even know what y'all have. You have a lot of rocks.
Lots of rocks, lots of
Lots.
caliche
Okay.
areas.
Okay.
There are quite a few properties that I've been to just in Blanco County that surprisingly have a lot of clay. If they
Okay.
don't have
I can see that.
caliche, they have clay. Um, and so and I guess neither one of those would be really good, like well draining. Because unfortunately the rocky, it just kind of runs off. It doesn't really drain.
So, okay, so other than, like we just said, plants like certain types of soil draining or, holds water. Is there anything else with the soils that you need to be aware of in regards to xeriscaping?
Yeah, the nutrition of it, of course,
Yeah.
too. So and like I said, I'm not the biggest uh
Soil
soil
nerd.
soil nerd.
Now I'm trying to think of what's somebody that's called if they study soil. I'm really trying to think.
That's what I was trying to think of too. I'm
I'm
like, I
gonna
don't.
look this up while you're talking. I'm gonna look it up because I feel like there's a name.
But I think here in the hill country, generally we're all really, really deficient in nitrogen. And a lot of places, probably more in the caliche areas, they tend to have a little bit higher phosphorus, which I don't. And again, this is me not being a horticulture agent. I don't think that there's a ton of plants that are just like, ew, phosphorus, I'm not going to grow there.
Mhm.
I think the more so the issue is the lack of nitrogen,
Yeah.
that things tend to. That's why our grass doesn't. Oh, our native grasses do well, but our turf grasses need lots of nitrogen to have that really pretty leafy green look to them. Um, Unfortunately, we just don't have a lot of nitrogen here.
Yeah. Okay. So I looked it up. So it's not really fun, but somebody that studies soil is a soil scientist.
Oh, okay.
But apparently, I mean, if you really want to break, so I guess there's also a pedologist. I'm sorry, y'all, if any of you are a soil person, pedologist. That sounds a little bit better. Pedologist is a focus on the formation, classification, and mapping of soil. But then it's
Interesting.
like you have agronomists who are like crop production, like everyone kind of dabbles in soils, but I guess no one really like
Is just soils.
is just soil. But yeah, so
Hmm,
fun,
interesting. I was
fun
wondering if
fact.
it was going to be like a spin-off of geology, but I guess that's more
That's
rocks,
rocks. Yeah,
rocks.
yeah.
But soil's like little rocks, right?
I mean, I guess, yeah, in a way, it's kind of like very, very small, crushed up rocks. We're diving real deep
We
today.
are.
We're getting real, I don't know if you want to call it philosophical. We're getting deep. We're good.
It's Tuesday.
This is what happens when it's just us, is that
We
this is
start diving.
we just start diving. Um, okay, but so and I guess really and truly on like range country, like there's not many issues in regards to soil deficiencies, which we had talked about this, I guess it was last year, when we talked about soil testing. But yeah, with your yards, we have a tendency to kind of mess things up a little bit in regards to the balance of things. So very much recommend soil testing your
Absolutely.
yard. So I'm trying to think of what episode that was.
I know. I thought about that right before we got on, and then I didn't end up looking it up. But
But yeah, so oh, I have it. I have it. I'll pull it up if my computer functions properly. So we talked about, oh, so that
five.
was we had Mark, and that was episode. Oh no, we don't have the episode number.
I had five is
Oh,
what I have
episode
on there.
5.
Yep.
Okay, yeah, episode 5 last year. Go check that out for soil. How to soil test, which is really, it's really not that. It's really not
It's
hard,
not that crazy.
but it'll give you lots of really, really helpful information for your soils. Anyway, soils, important,
Important.
important. Okay. So anything else that we should touch on with soils with xeriscaping before we move on?
Um, Not a whole lot. I guess the only thing I would add is, you know, if you do have a soil test, any time of the year is not a bad time. But the better times of year is, you know, right before the spring when everything kind of flowers and greens up. And then you can always do it in the fall too, because we do have some plants that do well in the fall. And so doing one, I don't know, maybe like every February or every August, September-ish wouldn't be a bad idea. And if you did need to amend it, of course there's fertilizers, but xeriscaping and then I didn't mention this earlier. So a lot of xeriscaping principles are earth kind principles.
Mm,
So Texas A&M has an earth kind program. And it is basically the same concepts. And so I'm gonna say a lot of things that if you've been to an earth kind program, you're gonna
they
think, oh, I've heard this before. Um, but they kind of run over each other. So compost we I guess being earth kind, you try to take a little bit more natural approach to things. And so I would, of course, fertilizers are easy and readily available. And then but compost would be a really good option too, to add in some nutrients.
Gotcha. And yeah, definitely test your soils before you put anything in because I feel like a lot of people, me included, you kind of want to immediately like, oh, throw some fertilizer on it, it'll be fine.
Yep.
When it's a little bit more complex than that sometimes. And you can burn your stuff, you can burn your plants if you
For
throw too
sure.
much, if you fertilize too much.
For sure.
Um, okay. So I guess what do you want to talk about next with your component? Because I still want to go to design, but there might be other more important things to
No,
talk about.
yeah, I mean, that's kind
Okay.
of next. Once you have your foundation laid, then you can do the fun part.
No, the really fun part. So do you have any like, I don't know, are there any fun apps? I mean, I know there's probably tons of apps out there that can help you like figure out a game plan, though really at the end of the day, like pen and pencil or paper and pencil are just as good as any when it comes
Absolutely.
to figuring out the layout of how things should go.
Yeah. I don't know of any off the top of my head, but that's a really good idea to tap into if we were ever bored enough to want to
If
do it.
Yeah, yeah, oh yeah, yeah. So we'll get on that.
We'll get
We'll
right
come
on
up with
that.
an app for Xeriscaping. We'll bring in Beth and some of the other horticulture agents,
Yes.
and they can help us out.
Yes. Something that I've actually done with my personal house, like we wanted to redo one of our spare bedrooms. I got on Canva and like took a picture, like a, you know,
Oh,
like a wide view picture of it. And I just started putting pictures in. So you could always do that if, you know, if there
oh,
was
that's a
some plants that you like, just kind of copy and paste it and make like a vision board for it.
oh, that's a really good idea. Yeah, because so Canva is, if y'all haven't heard of Canva before, it's I guess you could call it kind of like a graphic design
Yeah.
website, and everything is technically free on it. It's just if you go to like print or use some stuff, you have to pay premium charges for it. But if
Yeah.
it's just for you to give yourself like a visual of what it is, if you import pictures, those are free. But yeah, that's actually a really good idea to get yourself sort of started.
Yeah, it's like a digital version of, I don't know if this ages me at all, the other way of aging, but I don't know, when I was in like second and third grade, we would get magazines and we would cut out pictures and like put them on a poster board. It's kind of the same thing, but like a digital version of
Oh,
it.
a collage.
Yes, thank you.
Yep. I did one or two of those in my day.
Okay, perfect. I was like, I don't know if this is, people are gonna be like, oh my gosh,
No,
y'all still
no.
did that, or you know, or the other way.
Like definitely did those. Definitely
Back
did
in my
those.
day, we didn't have magazines. No, I'm just kidding. But um,
Okay. I was gonna say, so when it comes to like actually planning stuff out, like putting your plants, or I mean, I've heard of things like I know with vegetables, you have things as like companion
yeah,
plants. So when it comes to like xeriscaping, so I'm not gonna say companion plants, but I'm assuming like it's recommended to plant plants with similar
Yeah, for
wants
sure.
and needs in an area.
Exactly. And they call that hydrozoning. And so
Oh,
there's
okay.
kind of like three zone. Oh, and I was going to mention too, um, whenever you asked about the app, there is a this doesn't answer your question, but it just reminded me. I think on the Texas Forest Service website or maybe
Oh,
the
okay.
Firewise website, there is kind of like a really pretty 3D diagram, I guess to say, that has a lot of these concepts in there too. So
Oh, okay.
you can kind of Xeriscape and Firewise plan in the same
Oh,
sense. There's a lot of overlap there too. So if you are worried about wildfires, or if you can get your neighbors all together and agree, like, yes, we're gonna do all of our landscaping like this so that none of our houses burn down if there's a wildfire. Perfect. Um, so that's a fun one to look at. But back to hydrozoning. So hydrozoning, there's kind of like three zones up next to your house where, there's more concrete. So of course there's a little bit less drainage in that area. You're going to want to use plants that require a lot more water. So if you want to put your turf right there, that's a good option. Or if you want turf, you can put your turf up a little bit closer to your house. Especially the house that we live in, the people that owned it before us did a really good job on, like, once I researched and understood what xeriscaping was, I looked at my own yard and I'm like, my yard is xeriscape. That's
yeah.
awesome. So our whole yard kind of slopes toward our house, and we have turf right in front of our house, and we've never had to water it. Of course, 2-3 years of drought now, it's pretty much all dead, but like in a normal rainfall year, that the turf, regardless of what kind you have, it should do pretty well the closer it is to your house.
Gotcha.
Um,
I was gonna say it's kind of interesting to think about because you think about like where people plant flowers, a lot of times it's like right up next to their house.
mhm.
Which I mean, I guess makes sense because you want like you want it to look nice, but they do require a lot of those plants require a lot of water. I don't know
For
where I
sure.
was going with that. It was just kind of a thought. I was like, yeah, people plant stuff right by their house because yeah, there is more water there, but I
Yeah.
digress. I
Well, no,
digress.
and it, if you're going to use like irrigation, or if you are somebody who enjoys hand watering all the time, it's closer to your house too. So it makes it a little bit more efficient for you and the landscape, since your water is right there at your house as well, or typically. I know
Typically,
some
yeah.
people have wells and stuff, but
Okay, so you said so your high water requiring plants close to your house. You said what would you call those plants? Did you have a name for those?
I just said like turf, and then you
Okay.
you you said like flowers and annuals and things. So that was the other thing I was going to say and hadn't. So
Okay.
those two
Okay.
things would be better there. And then kind of gradually transition to like perennials and ground covers and things like that, that maybe don't require quite as much water. Maybe like once or twice a month they need a little bit of extra than what our rain is providing us. And you still get that kind of pretty landscape. It's just not turf, but it's a pretty green cover still.
Okay. Gotcha. So a lot of the times with xeriscaping, how do I phrase it? It's not that you can't use turf, but generally with xeriscaping, is it a lot of non-turf plants with some sort of like mulching or ground cover,
Yeah, for sure.
basically? Okay.
For sure. And then incorporating natives too. And so if say you don't want turf, just do everything natives, and maybe you have like little um you know flower bed. Sorry, I'm talking with my hands so much, but like little flower beds here and there, whatever works for your yard. Plant some natives there or some adapted plants. Um and those don't require as much water. So like if you did still want some turf and some prettier our natives are pretty. I hate to say it like that, but you know what I mean.
The generally the natives they look pretty for potentially short periods of time because they get the
Yeah, maybe
flowers,
that's what it
but
is.
they're not engineered, not engineered, bred to have flowers for long periods of time. So they kind of look pretty for a little bit and then they might die back. It's like all of like our wildflowers, they look really, really pretty, but they're meant to like live for a very short period of time. And then when it starts to get hot, they die off. And then it's
Yes.
just not not much going on during the middle of
Yes.
summer.
Yeah, and I mean for us too, we're hot. We don't want to be outside either. So
Oh,
our plants get a little bit tired.
yep. 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 I feel that. I feel that. Okay. So and then our last little group of plants.
Yeah, so we kind of started in toward our house and then working our way out. The furthest away from your house definitely should be natives. But like I said, you can do if you want to do all of it natives, fantastic. But if you want to incorporate some of those other things, your natives should be a little bit further out. They're not going to require as much rainfall. Um, and I don't know what else I was going to say. They don't require as much rainfall, so the further out from the house, they don't need to be in your irrigation area or anything like that. So um the more native, the more further out they can be.
And I know, like, I feel like, and correct me if I'm wrong, I feel like purchasing natives has become a lot easier, a lot more accessible for the average person. Because I know it's like a lot of the native plant societies have those sales, but they're like once a year, maybe twice a year. And you have to be there like at the butt crack of dawn and you're standing in a long it's like Black Friday for native plant
Yes.
sales. And like they're sold out within like an hour or two. But it's like I know San Antonio has several different places that you can go for native plants. I think Kerrville has one, if not two. I know there's one up the road in Lakey. Um, for me, I'm sure there's probably some in your area, but yeah, I feel like it's gotten a lot easier in
For
that regard.
sure. I think there's one in my master gardeners are going to come at me if I'm wrong. I think there's one in the Wimberley area that's pretty good.
Okay.
And then Marble Falls has a really good one too. And I'm not going to say the names because I'm going to get all of them wrong, but I know that there's a Backbone nursery and that one might be the Marble Falls one.
Yeah.
And then they love Rainbow Gardens in
Yeah,
San Antonio.
I was gonna say there's two, I think two locations for Rainbow Gardens. Another
Hmm.
one in San Antonio that I've heard of, I haven't been to yet. It's called the Nectar Bar.
Oh, okay.
I forget what the one up in Lakey is. Um, I know some of the nurseries around here will carry natives, but I will like, I don't know if I'm sorry if I'm overstepping. If I am, you can tell me that you're going to talk about this. But I know from other talks that I've done, you have to be really, really careful. It's just like lantana is a really good example of this. So we have a Texas native lantana species,
Hmm.
but a lot of the ones that you'll see at like Walmart or even some of the other nurseries, I don't know about like Rainbow Gardens or any of those other ones, but they're modified and they're actually not the Texas version. There's a version, I say a version, a species in, I believe it's South America or
Mm.
Mexico that's not actually native here. And our wildlife is not, what's the word I'm looking for? If you're trying to use it for like butterflies or pollinators, a lot of times
Oh,
those like the nectar is kind of it ends up getting bred out of it, so it doesn't actually provide a food source.
huh.
It just looks pretty. Um, so it's like the all yellow ones or like they have of course they have really, really fun names for them all, but so
Yeah.
definitely like figure out what the scientific name of the plants that you're looking for if you're looking for natives, and then look on the tag itself and it should have the scientific name of that plant if it's a native species. I don't know if I just talked myself into a circle, if that makes
No, that
any
makes a
sense.
lot of sense to me. Yeah. And I was gonna say too, I think I've brought this book up multiple times. I don't remember the last time, but there's a native and adapted landscape plants that's It's like a little guide and it's got like charts in there. I lost mine and I'm very upset about it. I think I loaned it out and I don't remember.
You don't remember
Um,
who you loaned it out to?
no. And I don't know. I've got a whole like library in here. Sometimes people just take stuff and that's fine. That's what it's there for. But anyway, I don't know where my favorite book is. Um, but there's charts in there and it's sectioned by I can't look at it, so I can't tell you, but I think it's sectioned off by like, grassier things and then shrubby things and then tree
Oh,
things.
yeah. Okay.
And oh, so it's also free online. I just pulled it up while I was sitting there saying I can't show you. But
Oh,
it's really awesome.
was gonna say, I can give you, if you want, I can try to give you screen sharing
Oh,
capabilities
sure,
because
yeah.
I don't think. Okay, you're co-host, so you should be able to screen share.
Let's see. Oh, my glasses on. Oh, share, share. Okay. Am I sharing?
No,
I think
nothing's. Oh, it's thinking now. There we go.
is that it? Okay.
Yes.
Cool. Okay, so I literally just Googled native and adaptive plants. So
Okay.
um it's a collaboration with the city of Austin and
Oh,
Texas
okay.
A&M AgriLife. I think they removed it from like I think it used to be on the city of Austin's website and I think they've removed it, but there's still a few counties that still have it on their website.
Okay.
And so this one might be an older version. I think they come out with them every 10 years or so, something like that. Um but yeah, so it's got like trees and then shrubby things, perennials, yuccas and succulents and vines, ground covers, ornamentals, all kinds of stuff. So anything you want to plant, it's probably in here. And then it's got kind of our more, well, the title is native and adapted. So it's those types of plants. So anything in here should be fine for our area. So like just for example, if you said, I want to do a cedar elm, it's gonna have this uh gu- I'm trying to say guide. I don't know if that's
They're
the right
like
word.
they're those like the plant requirements and like I hate to say
Yes.
dimensions, but it's like they're gonna roughly grow this tall, this wide. So don't plant anything within that zone
Yes,
because
yes.
they're gonna compete.
So like our trees are of course tall. So this one says it's gonna get 50 to 75 feet. It's gonna show us how far the spread is, how much light does it need? It needs sun or part shade at least. Um, Seasonal interest, it does well in the fall. How much water does it need? This is like low, medium, very low.
Okay.
So if you're xeriscaping and your goal is to use as much or sorry, as little water as possible, you're going to try to pick things that have these very low things on there for them. And then the wildlife, I'd have to refresh my memory on if the X means it's good or bad for not bad, nothing's good or bad,
Right,
but
but there's not necessarily a direct benefit to wildlife. Yeah, cedar elm, I mean, deer will eat cedar elm, but I don't know about like, and I
I don't
know
know about
black
like
cherries, like
pollinators.
birds will eat those, like the what do you want to call it?
Yeah.
The fruit, the mast.
I was trying to
So
find one that like doesn't have an X on there and
I'd be surprised if something, oh, N,
see this one has N. I'm sure there's
there's
an
probably something
index in here
somewhere.
somewhere. But anywho, so it's got pictures of everything and
Okay.
kind of, if it's got flowers, what the flowers look like up close and all that good stuff. But the thing that I look at the most, especially if somebody's got a question about, what should I plant? I'm like, I don't know. Let's pull out this book and look at it together. But I'm always looking at the water. How much is the water
Mm.
requirement on there? And then whenever you start thinking about, um, you know, what to plant, where to plant it, you're going to want to look at your height and your spread as well. And then the light requirements too. So if you're going to plant something close to your house and your house shades the majority of your yard, for the majority part of the day, you're going to want something that says shade. But if you get a section of your yard that's full sun all day long, then plant something that says full sun.
And I think that's one of the challenges with planting all natives here, especially here in Texas, is I feel like a lot of a lot of the plants, I'm not going to say there's zero, but a lot of the plants here are like their sun, basically. So it can be sometimes challenging, I feel like, to find plants that are more shade side of things. So that's where sometimes going towards your what do you call it? Would you call it adapted? Some of your
Yes.
adapted plants might be the better option.
Sorry, I just had a
Oh, you're fine. I was like, she's struggling.
could not find the button.
You found it. That's all that matters. Um, but yeah, so sometimes as much as I'm always about natives, yeah, sometimes I feel like with some of those, especially if you're trying to fill those shade areas, moving towards some of those adaptable plants, because like American Beautyberry is one that I think of that does like the shade, but I can't think of many others that do
I really
enjoy.
love it. Yeah.
Yeah, that really love the shade. I know there's some ground covers that you can use, but I don't know. It's like frog fruit comes to mind, but I don't know if frog fruit likes the sun or the shade. I
I
don't.
yeah, I that's why I didn't start like rattling off plants. I'm like, I just have to pick up this book because I'm not a big plant nerd. I know our master gardeners, I hear them talk about I think it's called silver pony's foot. They really like
Oh,
that one. It's
that's a
kind of,
new one.
if I'm picturing it correctly, I think it's kind of, it's not like a really bright green, it's kind of like a grayish
Look at this.
green, but it looks really pretty in the yard.
I'm gonna have to look this up. You called it silver pony's foot?
I think that's what it's called.
Sil silver. Oh yeah. So it's like a little here I'll pull it up and I'll share my screen so y'all can see what it looks like. Oh, it kind of looks like a lily pad kind of, or like
A
a
little bit,
ginkgo
yeah.
leaf or something like that. Let's see if
And a lot of people like to use it as ground cover. I think it's really pretty. But if
yeah.
you put it in like a pot,
Oh yeah,
it
there.
cascades really pretty too.
I have hashtag goals.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, I learned something today. I mean, I learned something always, but I have another plant to add to my list of things to yeah, because even San Antonio has it. Um yeah, okay. Anyway, I digress. Um back to topic. Okay, so planning out, is there anything else that we're missing in regards to sort of planning the fun
I
part?
guess the most not so much on the fun part. I mean, I think mulch is fun, but that's the only other I know we said seven, but kind of the three main ones, I guess, in my opinion, would be soil planning. And then the most important parts of planning would be, you know, the spacing and then who requires more water and where you're going to put those. And then, like you said, I didn't like hone in on that. Like you said, you know, look at that book, or if there's another book that you really enjoy, look at it and uh you know, pick out a few plants and then start clustering them together. Um, and if you don't like how they look together, if you're really focused on the look of it all, then, you know, just play with it a little bit more, start changing plants out. But yeah, the things that are going to require more water, try to cluster those together. And then likewise for the other requirements as well. But and then the third most important thing, and like I said, in my opinion, I think would be mulch. Mulching anything, your trees. I mean, not your turf. Please don't mulch your turf. That would be odd. Um,
Hold your turn.
and then anything that does like your annuals, maybe some perennials, eh, mulch it because the mulch is going to prevent that water from evaporating. I also like to mention, please don't water your yard at 2 p.m. At the hottest part of the day. That water is just going to evaporate right off. There's probably not a lot of it going down into the soil. You can actually burn your plants doing that too.
Oh yeah.
The water can get a little bit too hot and
Pretty
burn
much
the
yeah, cook your
roots.
basically cook your plants.
Cook them, yeah, for sure. Um, so if we're, if we're watering at the right time of the day, and we've got mulch on there, we're gonna have a lot less evaporation. It's going to stay moist and cool for a little bit longer as
Mm.
well. So, um, black mulch, there's, and I don't know the right or wrong answer to it. But I think black mulch is okay most of the time. It's if you have like a ton of it everywhere,
Mm.
yes, it's probably going to make your soil more hot because it's black.
Yeah, and that's kind of one of those where moving here to Texas, I mean, it got hot up in Pennsylvania, but we didn't have to be quite as conscious about that type of stuff because I mean, like I said, it gets hot, but it doesn't get quite as hot up there. So it's like I've always wondered, like about mulch color. And I think I asked this with maybe this was on here. I feel like Beth was on and I asked about like rocks, like using like because some people, you kind of do that uh more of like a deserty type scape, like you have a bunch of like
Yeah,
cactus or yucca, so kind of to go with the feel, it just looks nice. I guess like it looks aesthetically pleasing, but it's like I realize rocks are probably not the best choice, but some of those deserty type plants, the rocks.
they yeah, they tend to do fine in it. You can put I feel like some shrubby and grassy things do okay. But yeah, I feel like the rocks make things really hot.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I guess in the long, I will say the thing with rocks is you get to save yourself some money
Oh, for sure.
over time because you don't have
Over
to
time.
constantly like replace it. That's probably the only like one of the benefits of going the route of rocks, probably.
Yeah.
But I will say one thing that and I was trying to find it because I can't remember and I don't want to stick my foot in my mouth, but I feel like I know I can get this way because like Carly, like I love native plants, but I'm not like a huge plant nerd I'd say plant nerd. I would love to be, but also I'm not designing a garden. It seems really fun on the front end, but then when I start to like try to plan it out and I have like a piece of paper trying to figure it out, I'm like, I don't know where to start because there's
Yes.
so many options out there. So there was some place I had seen where I think they mentioned like first year, first go around,
Mm.
they basically recommend like so like instead of trying to like add everything at once, I think they recommend it was either like 7 or 9, like start with 7 or 9 plants and go
Mm.
from there.
That's a good.
Yeah, instead of trying to like, yeah, because you get like 6 million different,
Mhm. Get a
you
little bit
know,
too excited or
yeah.
a little bit overwhelmed with it.
Yep, you kind of can get yourself in trouble. And I can't find it. I want to say it was like some sort of like a rainwater harvesting garden publication I had
Mm.
seen, or like a pocket prairies or something like that. I don't know if I find it, I'll let y'all know. But yeah, I want to say it was like, yeah, you start with like 7 or 9
Nice.
just to give yourself a starting point, and then you
Yeah.
can expand out from there.
And I'm one of those people, I want to tackle it all at once. And then once I do, I'm like, I don't really like it.
Yep. Well, and I mean, you can get and plants are an investment, especially if you're getting all perennials, like, and you're just dumping a bunch of money into it. So you can get yourself really, very deep in the weeds very quickly in regards to, you go to check out and it's like slowly ringing up and you're about to spend like $500 on plants, basically. And you're not
Yes.
even halfway through like doing your garden. So,
Yes.
um, but okay, I see we're approaching the 1 o'clock hour, but is there anything else? I mean, this is just a very like cursory introduction to xeriscaping, but is there anything else that we need to touch on
I
for
want
this?
to say, I guess like the message I want to drive home is, with, lack of a better way to say that, is um the point of it is to save our water. And I hate to sound, you know, hippy dippy by that, but seriously, we're all concerned about the water. We see what's
Yeah.
happening in Corpus Christi. I live in Canyon Lake, our which that's not what the lake is for. It's not for recreation and things like that. But you know, a lot of people, that's kind of where that starts is, oh, I can't drive my boat out here anymore. But now it's like, oh, what if we run out of drinking water and water to bathe in and things like that?
Yep.
Or people that have wells, everybody, not everybody, but lots of
A
people's
lot.
wells are drying up. And I think this is a good first step, especially if you are somebody that has you know, a smaller piece of property, maybe you just have a few acres, or if you're like me and you're in a residential area, just, you know, what can I do at home? Every little bit helps and counts, and people see you doing something cool in your yard, your neighbor is going to try to keep up with you as the Jones, and maybe they'll start doing it too, and it just kind of trickles. And so um and and then in addition to that as well, all of these earth kind practices or xeriscaping principles, things like that. Not only are you saving water, but you don't have to fertilize, you don't have to, I mean, you might get some ants and things like that here and there. Grasshoppers are always bad around here, but you shouldn't have to do any super extensive pest management, or, you know, spraying pesticides. If you're somebody who, you know, you've got kids and dogs running around in the yard, you don't want to spray pesticides. Xeriscaping is a really good way to prevent some of those things. So
Well, I mean, it saves you money because you're not having to, you know, even if you go with like a native turf grass type of feel, if you do want turf, it's like you're not having to water all the time. And because I mean, Bermuda, St. Augustine, a lot of those other ones that we had Beth on talking about your different turf grass options, you know, I mean, they still require a lot of water. And especially during the middle of the summer where we're not getting any rainfall, but you still need to water it in order to make it at least keep it alive. Yeah, xeriscaping, I mean, those plants are, as you said, adapted to very little water and hot conditions, or they're native here and that's what they're built for. That's what they're created, made for. So save yourself some green
yeah, for
and keep
sure.
everything green.
Keep it green, save some green.
Keep it green,
Love it.
save some green. Ugh, I feel like we need to find something to like put that logo on.
Yeah.
I'm sure someone else already coined that, but I like to think I had a creative moment.
We'll get a cease
Um,
and desist after this.
Yep, pretty much. Pretty much. Sorry, everybody.
Sorry.
But but yeah, I think this is something that, you know, even and you don't have to go like crazy with your yard, even if it's just like pockets here, pockets there, a flower bed here, flower bed there, you know, like Carly said, every little bit helps.
For sure.
So, but okay. Well, everybody, thanks for joining us today.
Thank
Um,
you.
we will be back next week and we are going to have a wildlife rehabber on to talk about what to do with wildlife, you know, when to intervene, when to leave them alone, because as we know, you know, babies are going to start, well, birds have already started making babies, but, you know, deer are going to start having fawns here in a little bit. And, you know, as much as we want to help, sometimes it's better to just sometimes they're not as much trouble as we think they are.
Yeah.
So, you know, saving yourself some effort and heartbreak as well as you know, keeping those animals wild out where they belong with their mamas. So, that'll be next week, but we hope y'all have a great rest of your week and we'll see you down the road. So, bye everyone.
Thank you.